Well. What a difference a few days can make, eh? Because the last time I sat here, I was talking about Portugal looking underwhelming, England looking really good, the weather was normal, right? I could go outside and not feel like I was breathing in Satan's armpit. Now, I'm getting CPR from he who must not be named himself on every single occasion I try and step out the house. I'm hermited inside just so I just keep all of the rays from coming in. I'm having to check in on the dog, making sure that he's breathing every 10 seconds because he's making me worried at how lethargic he is. But we are talking now about Portugal finally stepping onto the stage and actually making a name for themselves with a dominant 5-0 win against, yes, Uzbekistan, yes, but you got to beat who's in front of you. And really, they should have beaten DR Congo in the same way had they done what they did in this game. So really, this was about learning from their issues against DR Congo, learning from their mistakes and doing better. And could they do that? And they've proven that they have. Really good for them. We'll get on to them. But we've got to start with England, I think, because I thought they would struggle against Ghana because there would be a low block and Ghana are hardworking and Ghana are in your face. And also, there's a bit of the dark arts about Ghana under Queiroz. He does, and Queiroz as a manager, assistant manager at United for 2 separate stints, 4 years each, something like that. He's been at Real Madrid. This is an accomplished coach who knows what he's doing, but also he understands that Ghana weren't going to beat England at their own game. So it was a question of, could England beat Ghana at their own game? That's what it became. And ultimately, they didn't. They didn't do any of that. And what's funny is that after the Croatia game, everyone was waxing lyrical about how England were playing. And I was waxing lyrical in particular about the way that Thomas Tuchel set the team up in the second half. Because the first half was 2-2 and it was a bit, if Croatia got a chance, they had the quality to put it away and England were giving them chances. But in the second half, he completely did away with all of that and they had no chances coming at them. So now it was a case of, could he unlock a team? Rather than shutting one out, could he unlock one? And England couldn't. The thing is, with the team that he set out with, and I thought this with the Croatia game, starting Anthony Gordon and Noni Madueke over Saka and Rashford. I know Rashford had a bit of an injury problem, so I can sort of understand that one. But I don't get where this love of Anthony Gordon is, frankly. I don't. I've said it in multiple videos, short form and on the socials. Check them out in the description. Make sure you subscribe as well and like the video. It helps more than you know. Especially if you agree with what I'm saying, like the video. If you don't, get in the comments. That's what it's all about. But this whole thing on, pressing wingers or, backwards thinking wingers, tracking back and all this and working for the team. I get the point, but you still got to take on your man and do something. Same with Madueke. Madueke should not be in this England squad. And I'm sorry, I know that he's won the league with Arsenal, but I tend to think of it with him, he's been a part of a league-winning team rather than being one of the main reasons they won it. I've never been afraid of Madueke. And this is one thing I look at with teams. It's who are the danger men? In the team that you set up with there, you have Bellingham, who's the most forward-thinking of all the midfielders that you put out there. I'm not afraid of Declan Rice unless there's a dead ball. I'm not afraid of Elliot Anderson at all. And I'm afraid of Harry Kane. And I'm afraid of Saka. I'm afraid of Rashford to a certain extent. And maybe Reece James if he gets forward enough. And it's but there's that fear factor. I always said with England, there wasn't that fear factor there. I think they'll still progress decently in the tournament, but not as well as people might think. And I said this at the beginning of the tournament when I predicted Portugal to win, which we'll get on to. But England have learned a pretty valuable lesson in that all this stuff about, you can beat teams at their own game or teams can't beat you at your own game, sorry. You have to then be able to flip that. And really in the game, I didn't see much of a press on Ghana. I didn't. So when you've got Elliot Anderson, you've got Jude Bellingham, you've got Declan Rice, who transfer-wise, that's £300 million supposedly worth of midfield talent. But then you wait until the last 15 minutes for a Morgan Rogers. You leave Kobbie Mainoo on the bench, who I think is one of the better ones at trying to unlock a stubborn backline, as he's shown with Man United over the years. And also, when they're not actually giving you anything, what's your plan B? That's an issue. And I think Ghana has just proven to the world what the blueprint is for stopping England. And it is, don't give them an inch. Because almost the opposite. You give them the time on the ball, but then don't, in the danger areas, that's when you close in on them. You don't have to keep pressing all the time to reveal space. You sort of wait until they get into an area of the pitch where they actually have to think in a creative fashion, and then that's when you start getting rid of the space. instead of doing it all over like Croatia did and eventually getting found out. Credit has to be given to Ghana because they, on a few of the breaks they had, they could have easily nicked it. And realistically, that foul on Ezri Konsa, from Ezri Konsa on their attacker for a penalty, I think 79th minute, absolutely was a penalty. You can't drop kick a man in his shins, not get anywhere near the ball and it not be a penalty. I don't know how that wasn't given, and I have no idea how VAR didn't even look at that. Pathetic decision, frankly. And really, I was a bit, like, I've been quite fair about the officials overall in the World Cup because the hydration breaks aren't their fault, and generally they've sped up play and they've got things going, and barring like the opening game where there was a couple of red cards and some outliers, I thought generally the officiating had been strong and good and consistent, but one of the worst ones yesterday, because I remember he did there was like a 3 or 4 minute break in play for an injury just before the hydration break. Again, is it his fault? I don't know if he's being told that he has to do it at a certain minute. It probably is being told that, which is just ridiculous. I mean, we saw Powerade hydration as soon as the breaks came up, and it was in, 21-degree weather? In Boston, wasn't it? Anyway, nothing really to do with the referee on that occasion, but he definitely messed up when it came to the penalty. And Ghana have a right to feel aggrieved because they were staunch. They were very good defensively. They were very resolute, and they deserved something out of that game. And I think they deserved to get a little bit more out of it on the balance of the better chances that were made, because England only really did that in the last 10 minutes, in which case, when they did try and pepper the goal, either the crossbar helped them with the Nico O'Reilly header, or there was a 33-year-old man in goal by the name of Benjamin Asare. And you know what? This World Cup has been so good. I want to do a separate video on each of these goalkeepers, but I was a goalkeeper when I played football. Yes, I had a trial at Walsall, didn't work out. We lost 8-1, 7-1. I always forget it. I think I've just blocked it out of my memory, but it was something 1, and about 75 or 80% of the goals were my fault because I couldn't claim crosses out the air because I'm a small boy and I had a timid nature about me. However, when I look at goalkeepers now, I love analysing that position because I don't think it gets enough analysis and it doesn't get enough love, but we have 4 proper, real advertisements for what it means to be a proper goalkeeper on the world stage. And that is from Curacao, from Cape Verde, from Iran, and now from Ghana. And the Ghanaian Premier League goalkeeper, Benjamin Asare, apparently he's been trying to get, a knock on the door in the Ghana setup for a long time. This was only his 12th or 13th cap, something like that. And he's 33 years old. He's played his whole career in the Ghanaian Premier League, only about 100 and something appearances in that span, because he did struggle in his early to late 20s to get someone to consistently give him a go. But he gets into that team, and let's face it, he's earning in a year what most of these English players are earning in a week. But 11v11, grass on the pitch, a ball on top of it, you're equals. And he was equal to everything that they threw at him. And yeah, they didn't throw enough at him. But there's a Harry Kane, there's a Jude Bellingham, and there's eventually a Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford. You couldn't get past him. And that's a lot to do with the defence. But when they did breach him, it was him. And you could see him vocally, constantly telling everyone where to be. And he led a prayer after the game. And it was just a really beautiful moment. So I will do a video breaking down some of my favourite goalkeeping stories. But Benjamin Asare, credit to you because you're definitely one of them. And credit to Ghana because now they've opened themselves up to potentially getting either a third place spot or seeing what happens with other games. They might even sneak into to the easier route. But we do have to talk also about, I've talked about England and how, disappointing they were. But finally, we have our moment for Portugal. I say finally because in even the preliminary stages or in the friendlies, I wasn't impressed. But now I'm impressed. That was the Portugal that we should be seeing. That's the Portugal with the shackles taken off. The first game of a World Cup is always a weird one. And I'm not going to hide how dissatisfied I was with that DR Congo result because they should have done a lot better than what they did. And they should have gone for it. Exactly the same thing happened in both games. You scored in the 6th minute. Exactly the same. Go for it. And Uzbekistan, they weren't good enough. But at the same time, they are managed by Fabio Cannavaro, a World Cup winning defender, and they had 5 at the back, so you had to break that down. Because it's all well and good saying that Ghana defended well and all this, and they put 11 behind the ball, as apparently Declan Rice said it. I mean, glass houses, mate. And you couldn't get through there with England, but when it happens for a country, you also have to give them some credit for being able to get through. It's a fine balance because, let's face it, they're not France, they're not Spain, with the greatest of respect to them, but to get through them and consistently create chances and make things happen, it should have been more than 5. And Cristiano Ronaldo should have had a hat-trick or maybe even more than that. But what made me really happy was seeing the midfield work as it should, seeing the technical fullbacks get involved the way that they should, and seeing Bruno Fernandes completely free in that role. Because the one time in this World Cup where he's free to run with the ball, assess what's in front of him and make something happen, he gets an assist for Cristiano Ronaldo. And final word on this video has to be to Cristiano, because I mean, he's 41 years old, and a lot's been made of all the other strikers that have done well, the Mbappes, the Haalands, and going in up the age categories with Harry Kane and obviously Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi is a freak, and I've never wanted to really subscribe to this whole pitting one against the other, because ultimately we're never going to get the answer, right? Because it's an objective answer to a subjective criticism or a subjective analysis. But for me, Ronaldo just simply represents more of what I personally believe is greatness than someone like a Lionel Messi. Okay, and it's not discrediting one over the other or putting one over the other. It's my personal definition of what I think greatness looks like and who best personifies that. And that is Cristiano Ronaldo for me. Because Lionel Messi is someone who has been touched by God. It's a talent we'll never see. And I think pure talent-wise, no one has ever been close to Messi, in my opinion. And definitely when you match his talent with his consistency and his own physical conditioning, because we talk about Ronaldo, but he's still 38 and putting out these performances, you still have to show him the respect he has, no matter how much of a Ronaldo fan you are. I will always have respect for Ronaldo being a Manchester United fan, of course. Of course I'm biased. Let's not act like I'm not. Of course I am. We all are. But also the fact he did it in the Premier League, and also the fact that he's coming into this tournament as a 41-year-old. A 41-year-old in conditions where actually in his game it was like 30-odd degrees. So fair enough, have a hydration break there. But to still constantly be the one that's dragging that team across. And I disagree with this notion that in the game in Uzbekistan that he was greedy, because I don't think he was. Like his little decoy for the Nuno Mendes free kick, very smart on behalf of the set-piece coach, the same set-piece coach who's at Villa, apparently. So kudos to you, mate. But also, like people said he threw his arms about when Rafa Leao scored and didn't pass to him. No, he didn't. He celebrated with him. And I don't like, do you know what I really don't like? And I'll end the video on this. I don't like the difference of assessment, media assessment, when it comes to Ronaldo versus Messi, because it's almost as if Messi can do no wrong. You know, he should have been sent off in the first game. But at the same time, he had a great performance and he's a great player and he had another great performance against Austria. Two things can be true at the same time. You can say that he should have been sent off. That doesn't take away the fact that he had a great game. It just means he was lucky to finish off the rest of that game and even be available for the Austria game. That's a fact. Just as the same as saying that when Ronaldo was poor against DR Congo, he was really poor. So was the team. But then finally, the team started playing for him like Argentina constantly do for Messi. And you're seeing that Ronaldo still has something there. So what I don't like is that you have to almost say, oh, Ronaldo is slow. Ronaldo is this. Like, he's not the player he once was. And then Messi's just going on and on and on. No, the underlying metrics of all of that doesn't support that claim, for one. But also, Ronaldo is doing the best with what he has, and Messi is doing the best with what he has. Both of them are incredible. And I just wish everyone could give them both the dues that they're owed. Messi, probably the most talented player that the game will ever see. Consistently being able to showcase that talent, I don't think we'll ever see that again. But don't demote Cristiano Ronaldo to just the guy that pushed him, or just the guy that did all that. This is also a kid who was raiding McDonald's bins in order to get some food. It's also the kid who came to the toughest league in the world at a young age to prove himself when the number 7 at Man United meant something. Not only did he prove himself, he became the best player in the world. And then he was able to continuously prove himself in different areas, going to Real Madrid, then going to Juventus, which no one gives him enough credit for, coming back to Manchester United at the age he was and still putting up the numbers. And then eventually, apparently sailing off into the sunset with Saudi, like we all thought Messi was doing with Inter Miami. And they're both coming back and giving us one last hurrah. So just respect what he has done. And to do all of that at 41 years of age when you're still closing down goalkeepers to get your hat-trick, I'm just personally, having supported Man United my whole life, having supported Ronaldo my whole life closer than I've been able to watch or support Messi, I'm just really happy for the guy that he's been able to kick on at this World Cup. And even happier for our own Bruno Fernandes, who gets his first assist. Now let's go get Pele's record, mate. But what did you think? What did you think of both games? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, of course, if you are new. There will be some Man United transfer news, probably in the form of a live show because there's a lot to get through. So subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you there.